Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, head mistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai Bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. In today's video, we're going to discuss the top 10 skills of the ninja. I'm going to say that again. We are going to discuss the top 10 historical skills of the ancient ninja. That is going to be the topic of conversation today. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for some time, and today it's such a beautiful day outside. I will say it's windy as hell, so you guys are going to have to really pay attention, because once these wind gusts start coming through, you might not be able to hear me, but it is an absolute beautiful day, and I wanted to get out and go for a walk, and this is the topic that I would like to discuss. So here we go, right? The top 10 historical skills of the ancient ninja. Now, for all of you guys who are subscribers and you've been with me for some time, I do not need to get in depth on what a ninja is. You all know what a ninja is. But for some of you guys who may be new to the channel and you don't have a good mental space on where you believe the ninja to be, I'm just going to sum it up really quick so you guys can know where we're coming from, okay? The ninja is a samurai spy trained in ninjutsu. If I had to give you one sentence to describe a ninja, that is it. A samurai spy trained in ninjutsu. When people think of the ninja, they think of black-clad assassins, people changing disguises, sneaking into places without being seen, carrying out covert, secret missions, assassination, sabotage, espionage. Like, that is what they think, and that's good. I want you to think that. But when people start thinking about the most feared warriors of all time, the ninja is right up there at the top. They were so feared and so great at what they did, we're still talking about them hundreds of years later. So without doubt, one of the greatest warriors of all time, the ninja. Now, these skills that we're going to be talking about, the top 10 skills of the ninja, they're not in any order. I will say that it's also very subjective, because what one person thinks is the top 10 skills, another person would say, nope, these are the top 10 skills. So if you guys don't like the 10 that I choose, that I believe to be the top 10 skills of the ninja, stick them in the comment section below and let me know what you think the top 10 skills are. At the end of this video, I'm also going to talk to you guys about a few skills that could be argued that they would be in the top 10, and I'll explain why I did not put those two skill sets in the top 10. I will also talk about a few sets of skills that I do not believe need to be in the top 10 at all, but unfortunately 90% of the people in the ninja community believe them to be top skills, and they don't even need to be mentioned in the top 10. So I'm going to talk about that at the end as well. Skill number 1, Inyo noho. Inyo noho means the methods of light and dark. This particular skill set alone, I could make hundreds of videos on. But because the majority of people who watch videos have the attention span of a kindergartner, and if I go on and on about, you know, in and yo and inen and yonin and all this kind of thing, you guys will probably switch to another video. So instead of me getting deep into that, I'm just going to say skill number 1, Inyo noho, understanding the methods of light and dark. From a ninja perspective, you had inen or inen jutsu and yonin jutsu. Inen is the skill set of being able to perform espionage out of the vision of your target. So you're an example, you're dressed in black, you're in an attic, someone walks by, you take out a target, you're listening to conversations, you know, behind something, you're out of the vision of your target. You're performing espionage out of other people's vision. This, generally speaking, when people dress up in the black outfits and the black masks and all that kind of stuff, that's usually an outfit that people use to kind of associate themselves with the inen skills in ninjutsu. Yonin means light ninjutsu, and this is the skill set of performing espionage in the vision of the target. So this is where you would dress up like, you know, a yamabushi or a monk, or, you know, some sort of an entertainer or a beggar, you know, some sort of, they're peddling their goods on the side of the road, that sort of thing. You would dress up in some form of a disguise to get into certain places that you're not supposed to be. So when you look at historical ninjutsu, from the jump, you have to understand inen jutsu, yonin jutsu, the difference between light ninjutsu and dark ninjutsu, and they have to understand how to go in and out between both of them, because on most missions, they're very much intertwined. Second skill, Choho, espionage, spying, gathering information. That is what we're talking about now. If you're going to be a spy, it isn't just about using camouflage that we talked about in skill number 1, where that's dressing up in black or camouflaging yourself in the background or dressing up in a disguise and walking around through the crowd. That's all well and good, but if you can't do the second skill, Choho, where you can actually gather information, gather intelligence, sneak in and listen to people's conversations, remember the information that you're supposed to have. If you can't do that, well then you're just going to be a terrible ninja. So the second skill set is Choho. Now this isn't just about gathering the information and the intel, but it's also about listening to people's conversations. And the tough part about doing that is, let's say you're in a disguise like we talked about in skill set 1, and you're like you're a gardener, but while you're gardening you also have to listen to conversation, right? Or maybe you're in a different disguise and you're in some sort of a place where people eat. So you might be talking to a friend on one table, you know, drinking tea and having some food, but as you're holding a conversation with one person, you have to listen to the conversation that's a seat down or 2 seats down, and you're trying to listen to that information and retain it while you're talking to someone else. So this idea, that second skill, Choho, is a necessary skill if you're going to be training in historical ninjutsu. Skill number 3, Inpo, infiltration. Being able to get into the enemy residence, the enemy stronghold, get into the castle, get into the house, get into places where you're not supposed to be and not let anybody know that you're there. Now I want to say that part of Inpo and getting into and infiltrating, stealth walking and stealth skills is part of this skill set. So we're not going to talk about stealth walking as one of the top 10 skills, and that's just because to be good at Inpo, you have to be good at stealth walking or stealthily infiltrating into houses and castles and all that kind of stuff. So when we're talking about skills, third skill set, Inpo, you have to be able to infiltrate without being seen, without letting anybody know that you're there. Skill set number 4, Ponpo, exfiltration. Once you've actually got in and you've done the job, you've got to be able to get away from them. You have to be able to leave the targeted area and not leave a trace. No footprints, nothing. You were never there. You were a shadow. Skill set number 5, Sokyo jutsu, also called Hayako jutsu. Critical thinking. Being able to solve problems now, instantly. How do I get in? How do I get out? Something didn't go by the way it was planned. I was supposed to do this, but now I've got to change my direction. Where is the gap in the enemy defense? Where's the weakness of the enemy defense? I went in to do this. This is what it was supposed to be. This is what I planned for. This is not what happened. And now we need to do this. Now I do want to say in the Tomoru Densho, it's called Sokyo jutsu, which is critical thinking. However, in the Togaku Ryu, this skill set is called Hayako jutsu. Still critical thinking, same skill set, different name, means the same thing. Technique number 6, Josho no jutsu, or the art of climbing. You have to be able to climb to get into the places that you're supposed to be, whether that's hills, mountains, castles, walls, houses, residents, buildings. You have to be able to climb to get in. Now, as you guys know, for those who follow my channel, you guys know that we practice this skill set all the time. All of our taikais, we practice climbing the different walls and the rock walls and climbing the trees and all this kind of skill set. You would be shocked at how many ninjutsu schools absolutely do not practice this skill. There was a I'm going to keep names and organization stuff out of it, but there was a Ninpo school, one state above us, who was in a different organization, and they came down to train with us at one of our stealth camps. None of them could climb the tree. None of them could climb with a shuko. None of them could climb with the kaginawa or the hooked rope. None of them. Even the one that was supposed to be the, licensed master of the school couldn't even get up the damn thing. I have made hundreds of videos of my students practicing this skill set and practicing all of the skills that we're going to be talking about today. Skill set number 7, Ninki, ninja tools. A lot of times people get this idea of ninja weapons and ninja tools kind of mixed up and misunderstood. So I'm going to talk about that real quick. A ninja tool is something that was designed to help you complete the mission. A weapon is something that was used to kill or harm another person. Like an example, a sword is obviously a weapon. It's a weapon of war. So we call that a buki. A kakushi buki, or a hidden weapon, would be something that was designed as a weapon to hurt or harm another person, but it's concealed. An example, shuriken. A ninki is a ninja tool, and that is a tool used to aid the mission. An example, like a small saw to cut into the windows so that you can get in. A kaginawa, like a hooked rope so you can climb and use josho no jutsu. Things like that. Uchitake, which is a fire starter so you can get in and then, set the fire. Those are things that are ninki. So again, skill set number 7, the ninja has to be extremely well versed and highly skilled at using ninja tools. Skill number 8, Kajutsu, the use of fire. This is a skill set that is, without doubt, heavily used by the ninja. Get in, burn down the castle, burn down the house, create chaos, fear, all that kind of stuff. Fire, for whether it's using fire within ninki or using like fire arrows, all sorts of things that they would use fire for. Torches, body warmers, like I said, burning down castles. The list of the what's called kaki or fire tools is rather extensive, but without doubt, if you are a historical ninja, you are very well versed in training in Kajutsu, or the use of fire. Number 9, Ongyo no jutsu, disappearing techniques, the art of invisibility. Many people who train in ninjutsu, you guys know some of the more commonly used techniques like Kitsune Gakure, Uzura Gakure, Kanen Gakure, things along those lines. Ongyo jutsu is an essential skill in historical ninjutsu. Being able to hide, not be seen by others, be invisible. If you were infiltrating, you could still use Ongyo jutsu. If you were exfiltrating, you could still use Ongyo jutsu. Number 10, Zetsumijutsu, also called Hisatsu-jutsu. This is the art of sentry removal, the art of elimination, the art of assassination. You have been hired to get somewhere and take the head of the enemy. You have been hired to eliminate someone without them knowing that you're there. You're in the same room and they don't even know it. That is what this skill is. Now, in the Tomoru Densho, it is important to note that we call it Zetsumijutsu. And all of my videos, you guys have seen where I talk about Zetsumijutsu in a ton of videos, and it is a major part of our training because there are many skills and kata that's been passed down in the Tomoru that we practice. However, it's important to note, because we teach 7 traditions here within the Budo-ryukai, although in Tomoru it's called Zetsumijutsu, in Togaku-ryu it's called Hisatsu-jutsu. Even in the Bon Senshukai it says, one of the secrets of ninjutsu is to be able to infiltrate and take out the enemy lord. This in its essence is Zetsumijutsu. So when I started making these top 10 skills, right? So Inyo noho, Choho, Inpo, Ponpo, Sokyo jutsu or Hayako jutsu, Josho no jutsu, Ninki, Kajutsu, Ongyo jutsu, and Zetsumijutsu. When I was kind of coming up with this top 10 skills of the historical ninja, right? There were sets of skills that was very difficult because you could argue that they would be in there, okay? So we're gonna kind of talk about those, and you guys can share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. Now, like I said, there were a few set of skills that I was considering putting in the top 10, and they just didn't make the top 10. So I'm gonna talk about 2 that you could argue would be in the top 10. They just didn't make my cut. The first one would be navigational techniques or astrology, right? From a historical ninja perspective, they would have traveled off the beaten path. They would have been through the woods, or living off the land, sleeping under the stars, like some of the scrolls mention. And obviously, navigational techniques by using the stars and the sun and things like that would have been a huge skill set and a needed skill for them. However, we know that there were ninja all over, and if you look at it from a realistic perspective, I can't imagine a lord, talking directly to their shinobi that's going to go on the secret mission and say, "I need you to burn down, Castle A." And they're like, "Do you know where Castle A is?" "Yes, I do." And okay, so they go down and burn down the castle. Realistically, they're talking about things that they know where they're supposed to go. Although the navigational skills and things like that, the people who really get into the books, they're more book ninjas, right? I think they focus a little bit more on that. I'm not for sure that breaks into the top 10. I will say that I understand that can be an argument for the top 10. I just can't imagine that being more important than the 10 skills that I've already discussed. The second skill set that someone could make an argument that would be in the top 10 skills for the time in history would have been Majutsu, or ninja magic. It would have been all of the esoteric and occult practices of the ninja. Now, I know a lot of people like to make the argument that none of that really matters. It doesn't change the objective. It doesn't change what goes on a mission. And again, they can make an argument, a claim to that. Now, one reason people want to make that claim is because more and more people over the years have becoming less spiritual and more desensitized to religion and spirituality. And that's just because of the age that we live in, which I think is completely sad. I think we need to be more spiritual and more connected to the natural energy. However, it just doesn't seem like mankind is going that direction. So although I know a lot of people who don't really believe in Majutsu and the occult, esoteric, magical side of ninja, the reality of it is the ninja truly did. And at that time in history, when you're looking at the spells and all this kind of thing, I mean, they were out taking like parts of dogs and cutting off hair from a dead woman, and they're doing these incantations, and they're doing this, this, and this. I mean, the reality of it is Majutsu, or Maho, or whatever term different schools call it something different. I use the word Majutsu. The esoteric or the occult side, the magical side of ninja magic was a really important aspect at the time. So, however, I just don't believe that in itself, even though it was a very important aspect to the shinobi of the time, I just don't believe that that skill set cracks the top 10. So I just want to say that I know that some people could argue astrology and navigational techniques, Majutsu and the occult or the esoteric magical techniques, and I just want to say that I note that I just don't think that those two skill sets kick into the top 10. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the two skills that are absolutely not in the top 10, but the majority of people that are in the ninja community believe them to be in the top 10, and they're just simply not. And that's one is taijutsu, or empty-handed fighting, and number two is kobojutsu, or weapons fighting. Fighting with sticks and swords and knives, and empty-handed tactics, whether it's, you know, using striking, kicking, and those sort of things, and grappling. Now, I will say that in the modern day, those particular skill sets are more important today for us who are studying ninjutsu, just because the world is becoming more and more violent, and those skill sets are more necessary to train in than, say, things like Kajutsu or Ongyo jutsu or things of that nature. However, when we're talking about the top 10 skills of the historical ninja, taijutsu and kobojutsu just don't tend to be in the top 10. In fact, they shouldn't even be mentioned, and in all honesty, anyone who knows anything about historical ninjutsu, you wouldn't even want to put them in the top 10 anyway. I can't imagine anyone that's into historical ninjutsu putting those two skill sets in the top 10. Now, there are people who believe that ninjutsu stopped 1868 and it was never evolved. It never changed. It was never passed down, which you guys already know my opinion on that. That's absolute bullshit. Ninjutsu was adapted, it did evolve, and it was continued to be passed down. You can't have hundreds and hundreds or thousands or all of these people who are training these warrior arts and then not pass the skill sets down to the next generation. How is it possible that all the Kenjutsu schools did it? They passed it down to the next generation. There was no more swords, but they passed down Kenjutsu. All the Iaijutsu schools, they passed down their training. Even though you can't carry swords, they passed it on. All the Taijutsu schools did it. All the Jujutsu schools did it. All of the martial arts in Japan, all of them. All the heiho, all the military strategy, that was all passed down through the martial arts. Why is it that people can seriously believe, and I don't get this, but how is it that people can truly believe that all the koryu, all these arts that were during the ninja and samurai era, they all got passed down. They were all passed down through word of mouth. People still practiced them and trained in them and developed their skills in them, all of them, except ninjutsu. Well, the people that tell you that, I'm sure they're selling you something, because I think it's bullshit and that is not true. Now, what I will say with that is, in the modern era, as the skill sets got passed down, so this is where you either believe ninja died 1868 or it continued to evolve and change over time. Me personally, I believe, yes, we had ninjutsu pre-Sengoku Jidai, ninjutsu changed into the Sengoku Jidai, ninjutsu changed again into the Edo period, ninjutsu changed again into the Meiji period, and then ninjutsu changed into what we see today. So when you look at the skills of the ninja, we have the 18 skills of the ninja, right? The Shinobi Juachi Ki. Those 18 skills, something that I can make a video on as well if you guys are interested in that. Those skill sets were what the ninja trained in so they could develop a better understanding of war to carry out the missions that they were on. As the times go through, when we're going from Sengoku Jidai to the Edo period to the Meiji period, all this kind of stuff. As we keep going down to the different eras, some skills became more necessary than others. So in the Sengoku Jidai,
Yes, Ongyo jutsu, Inpo, Ponpo, Inyo, noho. Those kind of skill sets had more weight, and you train in them more than, say, other skills like Taijutsu. However, in the world that we live in now, yes, we do train in Inpo and Ponpo and Inyo, noho, and all these different aspects to ninjutsu, so we can understand how to survive and protect ourselves, the ones that we love, against violence. That's all ninjutsu practitioners want that. But the skill sets change, because now in the modern day, things like Bukijutsu or Kobojutsu, where you're studying with weaponry, Taijutsu, or I'm going to use that word for empty-handed combat, weapons, hidden weapons, concealed weapons, ninja tools used to help you do certain things. You know, all these kind of things tend to create more emphasis in today's training of ninjutsu than, say, ninjutsu in the Meiji period, or ninjutsu in the Edo period, or ninjutsu in the Sengoku Jidai. So I do believe ninjutsu to be evolved. However, when you're talking about the top 10 historical skills of the ancient ninja, Taijutsu and Kobojutsu do not break the top 10, and in fact they shouldn't even be mentioned. Now I just want to add this one more thought. All of these skills that we talked about today, the top 10 skills of the historical ninja, the skills that we didn't add to the top 10 but could be argued that they're in the top 10, and including the skills that should not be in the top 10 if we're talking about historical ninjutsu. Every one of these skills I have made hundreds of posts on, numerous videos on, and we teach them every single year here in this curriculum. If you guys want to train in historical, authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, this is the organization that you need to train in, because we are the ones that train in these skills. Other organizations talk about these skills, but they don't actually train you in them. Other organizations want you to believe that Taijutsu is ninjutsu. If you want to train in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, this is the organization where you're going to get that training. So there's your guys' video for the day. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have a different top 10 skills of the ninja, stick them in the comment section below. If you guys have any questions, stick in the comment section below. If you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out my website at www.budoninjutsu.com. There you guys can see a list of skills, 7 traditions, and the principles and philosophies that we teach. If you don't live next to one of our schools, you guys can always join the Budo Yukai online ninjutsu dojo, and you guys can start training with us today. Thank you guys very much for your love and support. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo. Bye.